Chapter 1. The First Spark. Tel Aviv, early morning. Leah Cohen adjusted the strap of her camera as she stepped into the early light breaking over Tel Aviv's coastline. The hum of morning traffic masked the tension that gripped the city like a vice. Her editor's voice echoed in her mind. "We need truth, not propaganda." A phone buzzed. It was her sister, Dahlia. "Are you really heading to the north? It's not safe." "It's never been safe, Dahlia, but people deserve to know what's happening." Meanwhile, across the border in Tehran, Dr. Reza Amiri pressed a cloth to a child's forehead. His clinic in southern Tehran overflowed with patients, many of them victims of sanctions and growing unrest. Rumors of Israeli airstrikes were spreading. Reza tried to drown them in his work. "You can't stitch war shut," a nurse said quietly. "No," Reza replied, "but we can keep people from bleeding until someone does." In the shadows of Iranian cyberspace, Nava Esfahani tapped at her keyboard. Her orders were clear: disrupt Israeli communication satellites. But something felt wrong. The files she intercepted suggested that Iranian generals were manipulating intelligence to provoke an attack. "He died for truth," she whispered, looking at her brother's photo beside the monitor. "And so will I, if I must." Beirut, just after sunset. 11-year-old Omar Tahan clutched his backpack as he and his mother waited for a smuggler to take them across the Syrian border. The air was filled with the smell of diesel and desperation. "Promise you'll tell your story someday," his mother said. "I will," he replied, "even if no one listens." Chapter 2. Into the Fire. Leah arrived in Haifa as the first sirens blared. A missile had struck the port. Israeli defenses intercepted others, but some got through. The scene was chaos, emergency crews rushing, families sobbing, reporters shouting into cameras. Leah filmed everything. She even kept the footage rolling when a building collapsed just 10 meters from her. Her cameraman shouted, "Leah, get back!" But she kept going. Eyes wide, voice calm. Dahlia was tending to a shelter near Acre. One child, 5-year-old Lena, handed her a crayon drawing of rockets raining from the sky. "Is this tomorrow?" she asked. "No, sweetie, that was yesterday. Tomorrow will be better." In Iran, Reza faced a shortage of anesthesia. He had to operate while his patient, a teenager hit by shrapnel, was semi-conscious. He wept after stitching the boy's abdomen. Nava intercepted a message, a false flag operation intended to simulate a nuclear strike. If released, it could draw in global superpowers. She made a decision. She would warn Israel. "Forgive me, Iran, but I won't be a tool for madness." Omar was on foot now, crossing war-torn Syria with Karim Jalali, a smuggler with sharp eyes and a soft heart. They avoided patrols, survived on dates and stale bread, and kept moving west. "Someday," Karim said, "you'll tell them what you saw, but not today. Today we walk." Chapter 3. Turning Point. Reza's videos, uploaded secretly under the alias Phoenix of Shiraz, went viral. One showed him cradling a dying girl. "She doesn't care about flags, just bandages," he whispered. In Tel Aviv, Leah debated a military spokesman on live television. "You say it's defense, but why are hospitals burning?" The backlash was swift. She received threats, but also thousands of messages of support. David Sharif, an Israeli Special Forces soldier, refused to follow orders during a house raid in Jenin. A child stood between his unit and a suspected militant. "This is not a battlefield. This is a nursery," David said, lowering his rifle. He was court-martialed, but his testimony, broadcast by Leah, turned him into a reluctant hero. In the refugee camp, Omar gave an impassioned speech during a UN livestream. "I don't want revenge. I want a home, a pencil, and a pillow that's not made of dust." Nava was betrayed. Her colleague, Farhad, turned her in. She barely escaped, wounded and on the run. Chapter 4. Collapse. Drone warfare escalated. Oil refineries burned. A cyber attack knocked out communications across Europe. People rioted in New York, Seoul, Cairo. Leah documented the UN convoy massacre near the Jordan border. Shrapnel hit her shoulder. Blood ran down her lens, but she kept filming. Dahlia was tending to a shelter which was bombed. She survived by shielding 3 children beneath a steel table. She emerged covered in ash, later testifying at the International Criminal Court. Reza was arrested, tortured, accused of espionage. Protesters marched in Istanbul, Paris, even Moscow. "Free the healer of Tehran." David refused to train new soldiers. Instead, he joined civilians blocking transport routes. Nava, hiding in the Armenian quarter of Jerusalem, transmitted the location of a secret drone factory. It was destroyed 2 nights later. "This ends with silence, or with truth," she wrote in her diary. Chapter 5. Ashes and Light. Leah published leaked videos showing generals laughing during bombing raids. The footage circled the globe. Massive protests erupted. Arms shipments were halted. Omar, now in London under asylum, wrote a memoir, Child of Cinder. He studied journalism inspired by Leah. Reza, finally free, launched a telehealth network connecting Israeli and Iranian doctors. "You save life," he said, "not sides." David founded a peace farm. Former soldiers and orphans planted olive trees together. He invited Reza to visit. Nava testified at The Hague. Her voice shook, but she didn't falter. "We were taught to fight with data, but peace is also code. Let us reprogram the future." Chapter 6. Fault Lines. In a quiet, dimly lit cafe tucked away in a narrow Parisian street, Leah Cohen sat across from a man she barely knew, Amir. His face was shadowed beneath the hood of his coat, his eyes darting nervously as he slid a small flash drive across the worn wooden table. "You have to understand, Leah," Amir whispered urgently. "This war isn't just about missiles or territory. It's about control, resources no one's talking about. Lithium mines, oil fields, rare earth elements. Whoever controls these will control the future." Leah's heart pounded as she took the drive, feeling the weight of hidden truths pressing on her shoulders. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, Dr. Reza Amiri sat in his cramped Tehran office, his brow furrowed in frustration. Overnight, his telehealth network, designed to connect doctors across hostile borders, was hacked. Patient data was leaked online, exposing vulnerable refugees and injured civilians to unknown threats. With no time to waste, Reza reached out to Nava Esfahani's underground team of hackers and cryptographers. Together, they developed a military-grade encryption system, racing against time to safeguard lives. Each keystroke, each encrypted file, felt like a small battle in the sprawling war of information. Omar Tahan, now a young man, stood on a TED stage in Beirut. The room buzzed with anticipation. "What if peace was profitable?" he asked. "What if we could make peace a currency, a commodity worth fighting for? Would we still wage war then?" His words spread like wildfire, inspiring hope in a world drowning in conflict. In the United States, David Sharif, disillusioned by his government's warmongering, was invited to speak at West Point Military Academy. But halfway through the ceremony, he stood and walked out, anger flashing in his eyes as recruitment ads played alongside drone strike videos. "You cannot sell peace when you glorify war," he told reporters afterward, his voice resolute. Back in the shadows, Nava uncovered a terrifying secret: Nightfall, a new AI weapons program developed in secret by foreign contractors working with both Israeli and Iranian military officials. The system was designed to conduct fully autonomous drone strikes, selecting targets without human approval. "If Nightfall is deployed," Nava warned, "war won't be controlled anymore. We will only react to it, and then it will be too late." Chapter 7. The River Between. The United Nations convened an emergency summit in Cyprus. It was a rare moment when opposing generals, politicians, activists, and victims sat in the same room. Leah, David, and Reza were there, hopeful for peace. But hope was fragile. Within 12 hours, tempers flared, accusations flew, and the meeting collapsed. "You cannot negotiate peace in 12 hours after 12 years of hatred," Reza muttered bitterly as he left the hall. Meanwhile, Omar returned to Lebanon, working with UNICEF to support children trapped in war zones. He interviewed child soldiers, boys and girls forced to kill before they could dream. His old friend Karim, the smuggler, who once saved his life, stood beside him. "You kept your promise, Omar. Now make sure they listen to your story." In Gaza, Dalia expanded her trauma counseling project. She partnered with Miriam, an Orthodox Jewish midwife from Jerusalem, and Sheikh Hassan, a Shiite cleric from southern Lebanon. Together, they ran a makeshift center where victims of all faiths sought comfort. "We pray in different ways," the sheikh told Dalia one evening, "but our tears taste the same." Nava was now a target for both Israeli and Iranian intelligence. She had become a fugitive. Desperate, she reached out across borders, contacting AI ethicists in China and India. Together, they leaked Nightfall's source code online, hoping transparency would stop its deadly launch. Chapter 8. The Countdown. Satellite images showed convoys of Nightfall drones moving into remote desert zones too hostile for humans, but perfect for machines. Leah and David teamed up, using contacts from Amir's intelligence network to track these movements. One night, they hacked into a secret military data hub outside Eilat. Heart-pounding, Leah broadcast the live drone feed to the world. On screen, viewers saw cold machines autonomously scanning crowds, locking onto human targets without any oversight. "This is not defense," Leah declared to millions watching live. The footage sparked outrage. Mass protests erupted worldwide, from the streets of New York to the bazaars of Cairo. Some Nightfall drones were recalled, but others malfunctioned, going rogue and attacking refugee caravans. Nava raced in time, developing a kill code, a digital off switch for the drones, but it only succeeded on 60% of the units. In the Jordan Valley, Reza volunteered to lead a medical unit treating survivors of these rogue attacks. Dalia joined him, offering psychological support. They worked in the ruins of a school for deaf children, now a makeshift hospital. Omar's memoir, Child of Cinder, was adapted into an animated film narrated in 37 languages. Despite global acclaim, Omar refused all awards. "I'm not the story, I'm a survivor." Chapter 9. Cracks in the Iron. A devastating earthquake struck southern Iran, causing thousands of casualties. For the first time in years, Israeli helicopters were authorized to fly over the border to deliver aid. Reza coordinated relief efforts alongside Dr. Sarah Levi, an Israeli trauma surgeon with whom he had once argued fiercely at a televised war debate. "This is what we should have been doing all along," Sarah whispered during a moment of quiet. In the rubble, they found a young girl clutching a photograph of her parents, both killed by missile strikes years earlier. She had drawn angel wings over their faces. Reza interviewed the girl live. The clip went viral, touching hearts worldwide, and became the most shared video of the year. Nava was finally captured, but instead of execution or imprisonment, she was brought before the Global Ethics Court in The Hague. Her testimony lasted 6 hours. "The next war will not need soldiers, it will need coders, philosophers. Those who write the algorithms decide life and death. Choose wisely who holds that power." Chapter 10. The Olive Code. 5 years had passed. The Peace Farm, started by David, had grown into a thriving university on the border between Israel and Palestine. Its curriculum was unique: conflict resolution, drone ethics, journalism, agroecology. David taught the students the ancient art of olive cultivation, symbolic of peace and endurance. Leah directed the media school, training journalists to tell stories of hope and truth. Reza taught remote medicine, connecting health professionals across borders through telehealth. Dalia coordinated programs for refugee resettlement, helping families rebuild their shattered lives. Omar lectured on narrative journalism. His newest book, Tell the Sky I'm Not Done, was hailed as a masterpiece of resilience and hope. Nava, granted exile under strict supervision, taught AI governance and ethics through encrypted broadcasts that reached audiences worldwide. At the heart of the campus stood a stone monument inscribed, "Truth will make you free, but first it will threaten everything you've known." Below the inscription, carved in 5 languages, were the words, "Shadows fade, but roots remain." Thanks for watching. Take action today, not tomorrow. Press subscribe. And let's keep learning together. You're doing great. See you in the next one. Stay strong.